Hello and welcome to an Everyday Canines video. This is the Drive Game series, and in this episode we're discussing the difference between driving away from us and driving towards us as the handler. So on most of these videos, well in all these videos, I have been showing you the dog driving away from us, driving away to a toy. That is something that I think is very, very important to teach, and it's probably the harder element to teach. But there are other versions of drive, of course there are. So the other version of drive, and which we haven't really looked at yet, which we're now looking at now, is where we have the dog drive to us. So that could be, so if I show you, hang on, let me just get your toy ready, lovely. So for instance, driving to me is when I want my dog to go in. So I'm going to send her in that tunnel. Ready? Tunnel, 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 tunnel. Swift! And she's driving into my hand. So she's driving into me, powering towards me. And that is very important. What I would argue is that that is generally the easier form of drive to get. Of course, all dogs are different. There's always a possibility you've got a dog that prefers to work away from you than come towards you. You might have a rescue dog, for instance, that's hand shy. But on the whole, drive towards you is the easier form of drive because your dog is chasing you. That kicks in the prey drive, and their prey drive means they want to run into you, so they automatically build up speed. So if I show you doing this another way, me moving, you will see what I mean by how that can increase speed. Bearing in mind that Swift is not a dog that's naturally driven. So I'm going to send you, ready, ready, round, 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 tunnel, tunnel, go! Good girl. So can you see how fast she was? Because she was driving, she was chasing me. So that's why I spend a lot of time doing games where she drives away from me. Because with the best will in the world, and even the fastest handlers these days, you're going to find times where you cannot be ahead of your dog and you need them to just go. And if they won't go on their own, you've got a problem. That's when you're going to have your dog stop, wait for you, do something it shouldn't do, or it's going to slow down and look at you. That's where you're going to lose time. So when we're doing this again, that's why I spend a lot of time talking about drive away, because it is the most important. But of course we do need to work on drive to us, because there's going to be times when we want the dogs to really power into us and not do another obstacle. So for instance, say there was another tunnel here, sorry, not a tunnel, a jump, really close in the dog's eye line. A driven dog could say, oh, I can take that jump. If I wasn't there, they might veer off and take that jump, say. I want them to drive towards me. I want them to drive here and take this wing. Maybe I want them to take this wing and then go over there. So in that instance, I want to know that my dog will drive into me if I give them a cue, or even if I'm just ahead. So if I'm ahead of my dog, I expect my dog to be driving towards me unless I tell them differently. But especially if I use her name and say Swift. So if I show you what I mean, Swift, let's, okay. Tunnel, 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 tunnel. Swift. Check, check, check. So you see, I said the name, I had my hand out, I expected her to drive into my arm so that I could take her around that wing and control that turn. So it is very important we have those games in our drive. So building drive towards you, as I said, it's something that comes quite naturally to most dogs, but even if it doesn't, it's quite straightforward to build up. Sit please, go wait. So ideally, this would be nice as a tug toy, because then your dog's driving is connecting you, but we don't always have that sort of a drive with our dog, or that sort of reward for our dog. They don't always want that. So I'm going to reward from my hand so that you can see what it's like if you're rewarding from your hand. Okay, Swift. So she's running into me, I'm rewarding from my hand. Good girl. Sit. And I don't want her, I mean she is running into me. I don't want that to be slow. If she was a bit slow, I'd be going, yeah, that's not really good enough to get a reward. I want it to be fast. So what I might need to do is rev her up a bit and do some other games before she does that. I don't want it to be a slow trot to my hand. Swift. See that? She's got to power into me. Nice. And obviously we can extend that up. We can make that bigger. So you sit, please. Wait. So I can be the other side of this jump. Now in this instance, I will actually give her a cue for the jump because she's doing an obstacle. Go! There you are, and she's running to my hand. Good girl. Good girl. Another way we could do this is you could be standing out front when we're doing the drive and drop the toy in. So, yeah, you better be here. Sit. So I could be here. This is quite handy. I mean, I could do this probably from a weight. Break, break. So if you've got the dog that's got a good weight, I'm going to do it from here, Swift, so it's not too much. Start, please. Good girl. Wait. So if you didn't have a good weight, you'd probably have someone holding it. To be honest, this is how you do a lot of puppy training. So I'm going to call her in. Toy is in this hand because I want her to see this hand. Tunnel, go! And I'm dropping the toy there. So again, she's racing towards me, racing into me. So that is drive to you. And as I say, drive to you is usually the easier one to build. And it's the reason why I spend a lot of time driving away. I mean, some breeds are better than other for driving out of us. Most Border Collies are pretty good at driving out because that's what they were bred for. If you think about a dog doing herding sheep, they've got to drive away from the shepherd to herd sheep. But other breeds, they are more about being with you. Spaniels can be quite, I'm not sure about driving out. Shelties can, and a lot of breeds can. So that's why all these episodes up till now we've been spending with that drive away. But now we're getting that drive away. Of course, you're going to also put in your drive towards you, because there are going to be times when you want that. So it's that balancing act. It's saying, what is my dog good at? What does it need more work at? And for me, that my priority is always, with her, drive away from me, because I know she'll drive to me. And we've got lots. And of course, if you do lots of recall games and games like that, you can have a dog that drives to you all the time. The other thing we haven't done much of in this video is running with our dogs. The reason for this is that I've been trying to show you how to disconnect drive from your motion. Obviously in a competition we were going to be running as hard as we can. But there are going to be times when we can't be where we need to. Okay. There's going to be times when we can't be where we need to be, or we're behind, and we want our dog to still power on. So we don't want that drive connected to our motion. I mean, I know full well if I powered down this line, she would be powering with me. But that would give me a false indication of her drive. Because I would say to you, oh yeah, I run down there and she does tunnel jump really fast. But what happens when I'm not there? Perhaps I've done something at that course back then, I've fallen behind. Will she still drive on? So when we're doing these things, we're thinking about taking us out of the picture to a degree, so that our dog is doing stuff without us and it can drive without us being there. But yes, of course, if you can run up that line, she's going to run beautifully. Most dogs will. So we're not worrying too much about that. We're worrying about, can my dog drive when I am not present to build up that momentum? I know. Do you want to do it once more? What do I do? What do I do? Ready? Come here. I didn't say that, Tunnel. Ready? Ready? Tunnel, 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 tunnel. Go! Good girl. I hope you've enjoyed this Everyday Canines video. If you have, you might like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we have lots of videos coming out on a regular basis. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon.